The Delphi Murders, the case that haunted America for years. On a warm February afternoon in 2017, two best friends set out for a short hike on an abandoned railroad bridge in a quiet Indiana town. They expected to be home before dinner. Instead, one of them unknowingly captured the final moments before their murder. A blurry video, for chilling words, and a mystery that would haunt America for more than 5 years. This is the story of the Delphi Murders. Delphi is a small town in Indiana with a population of fewer than 3,000 people. It's the kind of place where neighbors know each other, children walk to school, and violent crime is almost unheard of. On Monday, February 13, 2017, schools were closed for a scheduled day off. 14-year-old Liberty German and 13-year-old Abigail Williams decided to spend the afternoon hiking along the Monon High Bridge trail. The abandoned railroad bridge stretched high above Deer Creek. Its old wooden ties had large gaps between them, forcing visitors to watch every step. For locals, it was a familiar landmark. For Abby and Libby, it was simply a place to enjoy a beautiful afternoon together. At around 1:35 p.m., a family member dropped them off at the trail entrance. The girls laughed, took photos, and walked toward the bridge. One of the last pictures ever taken shows Abby carefully crossing the tracks, smiling as she balances on the weathered railroad ties. Nothing in the image suggests that danger is only minutes away. Around 3:15 p.m., Libby's father arrived to pick them up. The girls were gone. He called their phones. No answer. He searched the nearby trails. Still nothing. As concern quickly turned into panic, family members contacted police. Within hours, volunteers from across Delphi joined officers in searching the woods. Flashlights swept across the trails long after sunset. Searchers called the girls' names over and over. But the forest remained silent. The next morning, February 14th, search teams returned. Less than a mile from the bridge, near Deer Creek, they found the bodies of Abby Williams and Liberty German. A quiet town instantly became the center of one of America's most disturbing murder investigations. Police secured the area while detectives searched for every possible clue. Then investigators made an extraordinary discovery. Before the attack, Libby had secretly pulled out her cell phone. Without attracting attention, she began recording the man walking behind them. She may have sensed something wasn't right. That single decision would change the investigation forever. The video was only a few seconds long. The image was blurry. The man's face was difficult to see. But investigators now had something most murder cases never have: a recording of the suspected killer before the crime. Even more chilling was the audio. A calm male voice could be heard saying just 4 words. "Guys down the hill." Those 4 words would become known around the world. For investigators, they were the first direct clue. For millions of people, they became unforgettable. The video and audio were released to the public. Almost immediately, tips flooded into law enforcement. People believed they recognized the jacket, the walk, the voice. Thousands of names were submitted. Every lead had to be investigated. Every possibility had to be considered. Yet months passed without an arrest. The mystery only grew deeper. The investigation soon became one of the largest in Indiana's history. Detectives from the Indiana State Police, the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, local agencies, and the FBI worked together around the clock. Crime scene technicians collected every possible piece of evidence. Witnesses were interviewed. Phones were examined. Nearby security cameras were reviewed. Search warrants were carried out. Despite the enormous effort, the killer seemed to have disappeared without a trace. Just months after the murders, investigators released the first composite sketch based on witness descriptions. The image showed an older-looking man wearing a cap. It quickly appeared on television, newspapers, billboards, and social media across the country. Still, no arrest came. As the months turned into years, the case refused to fade from public attention. True crime communities analyzed every frame of the video. Experts debated the suspect's voice. Thousands of online theories appeared. Some accused innocent people. Others claimed the killer had already been questioned. Police repeatedly urged the public to ignore speculation and rely only on verified information. Then, in April 2019, investigators surprised everyone. During a nationally televised press conference, they released a completely different composite sketch. This new image looked much younger than the first. Detectives also published a slightly longer version of Libby's recording. For the first time, the public could see the suspect taking several steps across the bridge. Investigators made it clear. They believed someone knew exactly who this man was. Even with renewed publicity, the mystery remained unsolved. Years passed. The families continued waiting for answers. The community continued living with fear. Many wondered if the killer would ever be identified. Then, in 2022, investigators re-examined information collected during the earliest days of the investigation. Among thousands of reports was an interview that had received little attention. A Delphi resident named Richard Allen had voluntarily told police that he had been on the Monon High Bridge trail on the afternoon of the murders. At the time, detectives had no evidence directly linking him to the crime. His statement remained buried among thousands of investigative files. When investigators reviewed it years later, they noticed something important. Allen admitted he had been on the trail during the same time Abby and Libby disappeared. Witnesses had also described seeing a man wearing clothing similar to what Allen acknowledged wearing that day. The investigation quickly intensified. Detectives obtained a search warrant for Allen's home. Inside, they recovered a Sig Sauer .40 caliber pistol. Forensic experts compared that firearm with an unspent cartridge recovered near the victims during the original investigation. According to prosecutors, microscopic markings on the cartridge were consistent with having been cycled through Allen's pistol. It became one of the most significant pieces of physical evidence in the case. On October 26, 2022, Richard Allen was taken into custody. Days later, he was formally charged with the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. For the people of Delphi, the announcement was almost impossible to believe. After more than 5 years, investigators finally had a suspect. The trial attracted national attention. Prosecutors presented witness testimony, forensic evidence, cell phone data, and the video recorded by Libby. The defense challenged several parts of the investigation, questioning the reliability of some forensic conclusions and arguing that the evidence was not strong enough to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. For weeks, the courtroom heard testimony from investigators, forensic specialists, and expert witnesses. Every detail of the case was carefully examined. The bridge, the timeline, the witnesses, the physical evidence, the video, the audio. After years of investigation, everything came down to the jury's decision. Following deliberations, the jury found Richard Allen guilty of the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. The verdict ended one of the longest and most closely watched murder investigations in modern Indiana history. For the families, justice could never erase the pain of losing Abby and Libby. But after years of unanswered questions, they finally had an answer. The Delphi murders changed the way many investigators viewed digital evidence. A cell phone, activated in just a few seconds, preserved the image and voice of a man investigators had searched for over 5 years. Without Libby's courage and quick thinking, detectives might never have obtained the evidence that became central to the investigation. Today, Abby Williams and Liberty German are remembered not for the tragedy that took their lives, but for the impact they left behind. Their families continue to honor their memories through community events and foundations dedicated to helping young people. The Monon High Bridge has become more than a landmark. It is now a place of remembrance, a reminder that even the quietest towns can hide unimaginable darkness, and a reminder that justice, no matter how long it takes, is worth pursuing. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy carefully researched true crime documentaries based on real investigations, subscribe to CRIMEMATISHOW and turn on notifications for more stories every week.